Hey, what's up guys, it's Oakley, and now we finally got battle replays to work for the Medieval 2 mod, Kingdoms 1212 AD. It's gonna be freaking awesome. The troops arrayed in front of you are going to be from the French army. We'll go over the compositions kind of soon. Just getting some nice cinematic shots because this mod is glorious. Props to the mod team. It just looks absolutely stunning. So we're walking slowly across this open field. Front line of heavy crossbowmen. And then in the back, you have a whole bunch of these sergeants, but from different counts, and so each of them has their own heraldry, you'll notice. So this is Counts of Dreux. Then we have the Duke of Normandy over here, having his own heraldry and colors. Count of Perche. You have Duke of Brittany. What is this? The Count of Beauvau and Anjou. So I have a main line of basically spear sergeants up through here, and then I have 3 of these sergeants, which are going to be sword infantry. In the far back, I have footmen at arms. These are going to be some of your heavier guys, so I'm keeping them in reserve. Very, very good armor on these guys. And then I have over here foot knightly retinue. So these are going to be sort of guardians of the king, coming from the king's own pocket, presumably. Over here you have foot knightly retinue, but from the Duke of Normandy, so also high tier infantry, but coming from a different duke. So you get all this beautiful color. Look at the helmets on these guys, glorious. Duke of Normandy here, definitely supporting the king in this instance, sending 2 of his high knights. Now I'm just slowly deploying my units to the flank in the distance. It's going to be the English also moving forward. Let's continue to cover the forces here. I have the gendarmes over here. I vetted them up several times, so they are going to be punishingly good. You can see here with their horse armor looks a little funky, I have to admit, but for the rest of it, super glorious. These are very good cavalry. They're going to be moving to this flank where I've actually positioned some French nobles and light knightly retinue. This knightly retinue is going to be coming from the king himself. And then here, French nobles. Wow, look at the armor of these guys. So yeah, I have some definitely awesome heavy cav pushing on both sides. I'm going to put this on slow motion just because action is going to get underway. We're already under fire. On this flank, I have 2 more of the kind of high-level knights, and then over here, the French king is positioned on the left flank, overlooking his army. So what is going to be facing off against us? Well, you have the English, and this is going to be Indypride on the other side. He's going to already start getting some shots against me with his longbowmen and archers. They have extreme range. My crossbowmen not necessarily getting the best range, so I'm going to be hustling over to try and get in place. You can see us starting to take damage, but not that much damage given the heavy armor of my guys. So we're going to be plowing forward here. I am going to be going into a covered position. So let's see what Indy has at his disposal. On his right flank, he has retinue longbowmen positioned in loose formation, and they themselves have really good armor. They're going to be starting to shoot at my ranks. Now I'm going to be charging with most of my guys, so they're going to be unleashing on me. He has some cavalry of his own pushing each flank. Some really well equipped knights as well. Up through the center, he has more of these, I believe, yeah, these are just yeoman archers pushing forward. Heavy infantry in the rear. So he has this nice plate armor line in the back. Some more knights in the back. And actually, interestingly enough, guarding the entire front of his archers is going to be the heavy billmen. These guys are very good troops at holding the line. They have excellent stats. And so what I'm going to be doing with my crossbow is actually targeting these guys because I would like to charge through with all my knights, heavy infantry, push through and get at his vulnerable troops in the center. But these heavy billmen will chew you alive if you charge straight into them, so I need to take them out desperately. Let's put this on play just so we can get the action. It's going to be glorious. The forest already starting to catch fire as I start to unleash on his guys. I'm slowly chipping away at these ranks. So let's look at this from the overhead. So here I am here, positioning with my sergeants up to the front, pushing on the left with footmen at arms. I'm going to start forming those guys up. and these guys as well, just to start absorbing arrow fire. I'm not going to be taking much damage, just giving myself enough breathing room here. These guys absorbing the arrows, providing defense for the crossbow to move up and start picking away at his line. So I'm slowly starting to pick away at that. Like I said, I'm pushing spears on either flank just to dissuade cavalry from surrounding me, and then I'm going to try and push on the flank. Indy is doing the same with his spear militia. Let's get back in the action and watch some of the exchanges happening here. You see my guys in shield wall here, just soaking up these arrows. A couple unlucky knights, you know, an arrow finding its way to his neck. So some of them are going down, but for the most part, we're doing okay. Crossbowmen starting to take damage, but overall you'll find in this mod that ranged units don't necessarily do that much damage, and combat is rather drawn out. And he could be targeting these guys, but he's made it his priority to take out some of my other more high priority units. I'm starting to make some inroads into his lines here. He's going to decide to start pushing his advantage with here some footmen at arms against my footmen at arms. I'm going to pull out of that engagement, deciding it's unnecessary, and looking for a better engagement. So that's what I'm going to be doing over here. I'm pushing some spear sergeants into perhaps intercept this cav and then start swarming around. What I'm going to be looking in this engagement is, and this is key, is with your cavalry you always want to be looking to land a strike on heavy infantry. Not spears, but heavy infantry. If you can do that, you'll bowl them over, get a lot of kills, and then you pull back to your own lines. That's going to be the name of the game. And so we're both trying to do that. And so that's why we're trying to tie each other's cavalry up, bring in spears. So the name of the game is going to be trying to land some cavalry strikes on the infantry. Now, I'm not going to allow myself to get tied up against these heavy billmen. I could take this engagement, but instead I'm going to just break out of shield wall and pull out of this. At least I believe so. Oh, no, looks like I decided to accept that. I think the reasoning behind... Holy shit, there's a lot of action taking place. I think the reason I decided to accept that engagement was because his guys were in a long, thin line, and you can see already over here, I'm outflanking and I can outmaneuver him, so I think I'll be able to crack this. Even though he's going to have a pretty good advantage on this side, I should be able to overwhelm. Up to the center, he's moving in with some of his heavy billmen. I think I will retreat from that side. Over on the flank, I'm keeping 2 spears just to keep the cavalry at bay. Some cavalry in reserve, but here is where I spotted an opportunity to land a nice strike with my gendarme against these knightly retinue. And the cavalry here chased off by my spear. So this is going to be a very important moment in the battle. I'm going to actually do a double strike on this. And now that's going to take his unit really far down. His cavalry is going to be, you know, trying to counteract my engagement, but all I'm going to have to do is just pull in with my own spears, tie those guys down, and then try and, you know, force his other cav back. I'm going to take an engagement, French nobles against knightly retinue. And then I'm going to charge in here, do some hammer and anvils in the back. But you can see here, I already broke his heavy infantry. Over on this flank, Indy was looking to do the same to me. However, his cavalry here was thrown into this mess where he hit most of his own men. Didn't get very effective hits. You can see my men-at-arms at 120 and 108. So I'm doing pretty well, and his billmen are going down. Up through the center, his heavy billmen here are, they pushed through. So I pulled back my infantry. He is getting at some of my crossbowmen, so I'm going to pull them out. But over here, I've kept protective spearmen to keep his cavalry back. So it looks like I'm doing pretty well. I've engaged on his front lines. Now, he is starting to overwhelm some of my forces here. My sergeants are barely holding on. Let's get a look at a little bit of this combat. So here he's got my guys up against the wall, but look at what I'm going to do. Charges to the back and hammer and anvil pretty solidly. Now he's going to come in with his own units, but at the last minute they get clipped on my own guys. And now I'm actually going to countercharge into his English king. And keep in mind, this is the king close into the combat, whereas my king is pretty safe over here. So we've got a combined assault here where I think I'll win that out. In the center, I've got his king dying down. I'm going to commit some of my heavy infantry to the middle. I've got his cav in the back disengaged. And then over here, what I'm going to be doing is my French king with some shot cav is going to be pushing around the flank. One of my knights is going to take off and try and perhaps hammer an anvil on this position because Indy's got some screening forces here. What I do is a little bait and switch. I pulled him to try and engage with my guys and then, you know, forced him back with my own spears. And so with this heavy shot cav, I was able to hit the rear of this blob. So that's going pretty well. And my king is going to come back and force these units back. So I'm doing a good job of keeping defense strong. Spears here doing a lot of intercept duty, keeping his cavalry at bay. If they get loose, they can start doing a lot of damage here, which is exactly what Indy's going to line up and look to do here. So this could be punishing. But in doing so, it means I'm going to be able to close in on him with my spears from all sides. So this could be dangerous. Meanwhile, my French king is in the back. So here, yes, he did land a hammer and anvil, but I'm going to be able to, choke him out with my spears. So he's got that committed. And so he's going to pull out one of his cavalry there because he wants cavalry to be still mobile. Another one of his is ping-ponging around, so this is very dangerous for me. However, I did win this engagement where I had a lot of my gendarmes. These guys are excellently upgraded. Only lost 3 men, and they have 50 kills, so now I'm going to be rolling over his guys. Like we've said in previous videos, cavalry engagements are very long-winded, so this took place a long time ago. And, one-on-one, I've only lost 2 men. He's only lost 9, so that's going over for a long time. But I have now reinforcements free to hit his yeoman archers and start freeing up the rear line. So now my knights are going to be running uncontested, destroying his yeoman archers, pulling his guys away from the fight. I still have some foot retinue here, able to try and slow down his cav. However, his cav is going to get these hammer and anvils repeated strikes on my guys, so it's going to start to slowly whittle away at my men. And actually, he was able to take the front lines here, possibly due to a combination of elite infantry and the billmen. But anyways, he's going to get that combat, and he's going to finish it off with the king who has survived. So hammer and anvil is extremely important in this game. There you go, he gets a hammer and anvil. My guy's still alive. The billmen were able to push through the center, but I've got crossbowmen to take them out. They're now definitely bloodied, and they're going to break soon. So, he's collapsing this wing, but I'm coming back with some cav of my own to try and collapse his guys here because I have overwhelming numbers on this side, and so I really want to break his infantry, allow me to reform. My king here is going to be on defense duty, and now I'm going to perhaps try and take out his archers. Now, either of our flanks where we've won are going to kind of come back and fight each other in the middle. His king was forced back by 2 of my foot retinue, but they've taken a pretty severe beating. I do still have some crossbowmen left over, and I'm going to be trying to target high value units. However, the English king is circling, and he has a lot of his footmen coming in. Some heavy troops. I'm going to countercharge his guys. But that means his king is free to do some strikes on my infantry, my crossbowmen here. I'm going to get a couple final volleys, trying to do some HP damage, but the king and general units are very hard to take out. I have another crossbowman unit in the back continuing to do shots on him, so I'm hoping to whittle that out. Meanwhile, my own king has been engaged in this fight. He's starting to lose some men up against the billmen and heavy cav, but he's helping to turn the tides here. Looks like Indy's going to start to collapse. Over on this flank, cavalry and spears against Indy's cav. I'm going to leave my spears to deal with that. And then my knights are going to disengage and go after his archers, which have been firing the entire game. Let's see how many kills I have. 51 kills on that one, 28 and 27. So pretty good overall. But here comes my gendarme, ready to clean this up. Now this is pretty good for Indy. My gendarme are probably better served hammer and anviling the rear of his guys. But instead I take one of my cavalry units, send him against the archers just to suppress those. The other one is going to come back here, and you can see he's given attack orders to take this out. So I'm hoping to free this up. Now this could be a turning point. However, my general, my French king here, has been broken by Indy, and actually there you go, the general falls. This is a crucial moment. I had an advantage here, but I think with the billman in the mix there, he was able to take out my general. And meanwhile, Indy's general is still alive, so this is going to start to waver some of my guys, even though I had an advantage here. Now it's going to start to domino, and yeah, I'm losing more and more men. Cavalry did land a nice strike here, so Spear Militia are breaking. These swords just need another strike, and I can break them. So I'm doing pretty well. The archers in the rear are being broken. Some of my guys are coming back, however they broke finally. And so this is going to come down to the last couple units. I have my French nobles here, and Indy's just going to turn around his billmen. The billmen seem to be actually a pretty decisive factor in this battle. They seem to be pretty powerful. Actually, some of the most powerful units in the game. It could be stat problems because they come so cheap and they're so effective. But yeah, they're doing Indy great services here. His heavy cav here, still running uncontested. I have some spear sergeants trying to chase them down. But he's going to have the advantage to knock out these guys before I can get back. I do have some of my own spear sergeants but they are rather exhausted. So they're going to be trying to rally back to this fight. And so he's got a couple swordsmen remaining, a couple spears, and a couple cav. I still have a very healthy unit of gendarme taking out the retinue longbowmen. However, this fight is actually going to end up being bogged down a fair amount. I thought it would be easy, but I think because I'm so exhausted, I'm not cleaning them up as quickly as I thought I would. So here, while we're busily trying to chop away at some archers, the main fight is being decided. And this fight's going to be decided by cavalry trying to land some strikes on my last remaining spear sergeants. The billmen here are going to be appropriately placed to force back my cav charge. I can't charge in through here because they would get destroyed by his guys. So instead I go for this knightly retinue target, and I'm going to try and intercept with some of my own spears. Going to get a nice flanking charge. Slow his guys down, and I stop them from reaching my cav just by a couple feet right there. So that was a nice intercept. However, now all the rest of my units here have actually been routed, so the English have very much turned this around. Really good job of Indy for microing this and really saving each and every one of his units for the last fight. Ended up being crucial. And there are still no axe animations. But yeah, at this point I'm getting a little bit worried. He's going to collapse everything in on my spears. However, these billmen, again, able to force back my French nobles, and then it's going to allow him to charge after my guys. I'm going to take this engagement, which probably isn't the best thing, because it means his billmen are going to be able to engage. So this is going to be a problem for me. I had to give up on those archers for some reason just to get my gendarmes out, and you can see once they disengage, they're taking a lot of damage from his archers. I am going to be able to get a nice charge, and I'm actually going to cross lances with the English king here trying to avenge my own lord, fallen lord, and we'll see how that goes. Super epic, but with some swordsmen on the sidelines and archers firing into this engagement, it is actually not going to end up going in my favor. I did start to make one of his footmen waver, then they rally, and my gendarme is actually now going to be the one who's exhausted. My cavalry in the back are tied up, so there you go. It came down to just the last couple units, but what an epic fight. That was definitely a valiant defeat, a valiant engagement. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I love this mod. It's playing super well. All the pageantry and color and attention to detail this mod really brings these battles to life. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. I will see you in the next one. Well, actually, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the stats. I know you guys enjoy that. So here you go. You can see we brought almost the same amount of men. But yeah, here's my composition. Gendarme doing very good. Cavalry overall doing pretty well. Sergeants doing okay. Crossmen trading pretty well. They actually traded comparably to the archers, so pretty happy with those guys. My knights overall getting 50-60 kills apiece. Indy's infantry seem to have done much better. His footmen and arms got better engagements, but these heavy billmen here, I think, being the MVPs of this battle, very cheap guys, but 174 kills, that's more than anything except for my gendarmes, which cost way more than his guys. His own king doing a lot of work, but that has to do with micro, and actually these men at arms doing a lot of damage. So Indy doing a very good job with this this engagement. Hope you guys enjoyed. Now I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.